Sirens, Slammers, and Service, a podcast for female first responders by female first responders. My name is Nikki Clucci, and I will be your host. As a former correctional officer in Alberta for almost 2 decades and the founder of Blue Line Fitness Testing, which provides law enforcement fitness testing and first responder wellness workshops, I started this podcast as a way for female first responders to share the trials, tribulations, and triumphs of their daily work. I want to showcase the unique perspectives, skill sets, and personalities that women bring to a first responder career and share their stories. So get ready to laugh your ass off, learn a whole bunch, and be inspired by some pretty badass women. Let's go. All right, guys, welcome back, Sirens, Slammers, and Service. We are so lucky to be joined today by one of my literally favorite people in the whole entire world. This is Erin Pipke. She is the drug dog handler for Alberta Solicitor General Correctional Services. She's working out of the Edmonton Remand Center. Erin and I had the privilege of playing rugby together in the World Police Fire Games in 2011, and then we played clubs together. We got to go to Hawaii in 2014 and play rugby. An absolute gem of a human. Welcome, Erin. How are you today?
Oh, I'm pretty good. How are you?
I am good. I'm so happy to have you on the show. I am so excited to chat with you. 2008, you started at Peace River Correctional Center. And then in 2012, well, we met in 2011. And in 2012, you came into your current role as the drug dog handler for the new Edmonton Remand Center. And you've been there ever since. Such an amazing career, 15 years of corrections. So first of all, bravo for 15 years of corrections. So I can't wait because I had this before where I've had my friends on who just also happen to be badass female first responders. But and I think I kind of know your story, but then I don't really know all of it. So walk me through this. You're from a small town from Spirit River, Alberta. So teeny tiny outside of Peace River for all my small town Alberta people. What was it that made you go, I want to be in corrections?
Well, actually, at first I wanted to become a cop. And then I went on 1 or 2 ride-alongs with the local RCMP from Spirit River there. And it turned out it's really fucking boring. No offense to the RCMP members, but I mean, you're out there, you're not working with a partner and you're just basically waiting for shit to pop off kind of thing, right? And if you need backup, your nearest backup might be 30 minutes away. Who knows, right? Depending on where you're responding. So that was kind of a deterrent for me. So I was kind of looking into other forms of law enforcement. So I don't even know how the heck I came across it, but I was like, oh, corrections. Oh, okay. Shit hits the fan. You have somebody there 30 seconds. If you need a hand kind of thing, right? If you get into trouble. But yeah, and ultimately corrections because I wanted to help the young offenders, right? So I was thinking, oh, young offenders, if I just reach, if I just help one young offender, if I just change the world with one, well, fuck me, yeah, that ain't gonna fucking happen, right? They graduate to the adult centers and they're just little fucking shitheads. Sorry, am I swearing too much? Can I swear?
No, you light her up, baby. This is my podcast. Are you kidding me? Of course we fucking swear on this podcast.
Okay, so yeah, no, I was like, oh yeah, corrections. I wanted to work young offenders, thinking I can help them, change them. And then once I was going to college for corrections, I hadn't been placed yet, but I was applying to places after my 2 years was up, because at this time it was the Correctional Studies diploma down in Lethbridge at the Lethbridge Community College, as I think it was called. Way the fuck back in the day. I don't know if I think it's just Lethbridge College now. Yeah, I did a practicum at the Lethbridge Correctional Center, and they're like, you can't change young offenders. They're basically little shit brats. If they act out of hand, you're done. You can't even place your hands on them. Good luck kind of thing, right? So I was like, oh, okay. So they kind of swayed me towards the adult system, because if an adult acts out, well, game on, right?
Yeah. They are cognizant of their decision.
yeah. So that was basically how I got into corrections.
So you were in Spirit River, was where you grew up. So then did you you went through high school, everything through Spirit River, and then from Spirit River you were like, I'm going to do this correctional services diploma. So I'm going to move all the way to the other fucking end of the province, to Lethbridge.
Yep.
And I'm going to go to Lethbridge. Yeah, see you later, Mama. So for those of you that don't know, Erin has probably the greatest fucking parents in the entire world. They came with us to New York and like honest to God, probably the cutest, sweetest parents. And like I wish my parents were like that. My parents are not like that at all. I wish they were like that because they were like cheering on the sidelines. They had like oranges ready for us. Like they were like, what do you girls need? Like, we got you. And then like, oh, you need a ride or like you need us like to escort you to the bar in New York. Okay, we'll take you and then we'll leave. And then just
Yeah.
call us when you need a pickup. And I was like, and we were like, I mean, 2011, like I had a child at this point. Like I was a certified adult. And I was like, yes, mom, please take care of me.
Oh, I know. I was so mortified. I'm like, oh my God. Like just think, okay, ladies, like I've cut the umbilical cord just so you know, like you know.
I loved it. I loved it. I was like, I love these parents. They can come on tour anytime they fucking want to come on tour. They were amazing. Okay, so yeah, so you go down to Lethbridge and it's a 2-year diploma, is that correct?
At the time, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so 2-year diploma. How was university or like how was college? Did you like it? Like what you were learning, was it you like did you feel it was relevant? Like when you graduated, were you like, oh yeah, like this is actually applicable to now working in the job, or was it just a lot of more like theoretical kind
Yeah, like there was a lot of fuck Nikki, that was so long ago. Um my memory is just shot. Um yeah, it was I would say it was applicable. Like it was definitely interesting like learning about like all the different laws and what you could go to jail for and
of?
like all that kind of shit at the time, right? Like so it was definitely interesting like learning that part of it and just kind of I'd say it was applicable, yeah.
And then, so you graduate from Lethbridge, you move back home, I'm assuming.
Back up to Peace River. Actually, I had applied for a wage position at the Lethbridge Correctional Center and then did the COPAT as it was. Do they do pair and COPAT now, or is it just the pair?
No, so the corrections wants the COPAT, but they'll accept the pair just because there wasn't very
Oh,
many
okay.
places over COVID. But yeah, lots of people
Okay.
still run the COPAT. They have changed the time for it. So when you ran it, we had to do it in 250. Same with when I ran it, we had to do it in 2 minutes and 50 seconds.
Yeah.
They've now given them an extra 30 seconds. So the time now is 3 minutes and 20 seconds.
Oh,
And
okay.
shockingly, people are still failing it at 3 minutes. The reason they gave them more time was because so many people were failing it and couldn't pass it. But people are still failing it at 320 because they're usually, again, vastly underestimating how
Yeah.
challenging the test is. I get a lot of the time, oh, I'm going to run the COPAT because it's easier than the pair. And I was like, well, you're fucking wrong. It's not. And get ready to have the time of your life. You're going to puke at the end.
Yeah. So like at that time, like yeah, I'd ran the COPAC because that like we didn't the pair was only for like sheriffs at the time.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
remember. So yeah, ran the COPAC, passed that, passed everything. Basically went in the interview at the correctional center there, and the director actually, well, the people that were looking to hire, they're like, oh well, I see you applied for wage staff. If a full-time position became available, would you take it? And I'm like, well, yeah, kind of thing. But I had only considered the wage position at the time because I was planning on going to university there as well, right?
Mhm.
So I was going to do wage and kind of work my way through university, right? So, and gain experience there. But they're like, oh, well, Peace River's hiring full time. So I'm like, okay, well, fuck. As soon as I said that, book shut, they're like, fuck me, like she's gone kind of thing, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, the director at the time in Lethbridge was like, you could just see the look on his face. He's like, fuck.
Yeah. Never
I
should
was
have
like,
said
okay,
anything.
he's
Yeah.
going, yeah, he's going to Peace River. So, yep.
Which is so funny because most of the people that are applying right now, when the option comes up to go to Peace River, they're like, I'd like to withdraw
Where?
my application. Yeah, like, no,
Yeah,
thank
where?
you. Like,
And I loved it up there. I met some of like I worked with like a great shift up there. Like I was on A shift. They were great. They were great shift. I mean, huge turnover rate up there, right? So because
yeah.
a lot of people up there find out once they get up there, like they're from out east or a city setting where they're
Mhm.
used to having everything at their fingertips. Well, it's Peace River. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
but it's almost butt fuck nowhere. Like unless you're country or farm or whatever, like you love the outdoors, like you're not gonna have a good time. Like I hate to say it, but you're not. So and yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing with Peace River. I remember working with a guy. So I was working at Edmonton Rebound Center, and he had transferred down from Peace River at Mike Tabor, so you would know him. And he was like quintessential city boy, right? And so he arrived at Edmonton Rebound Center, and I remember being like, you
we're in Peace River? He's like, yeah. I was like, how did you survive? He was like, barely. And he's like, I think he had to wait 4 years. So he got hired into Peace River. He had to wait 4 years before a position opened up in Edmonton for him to transfer down. And the first
Yeah.
time he instantly took the transfer, right? But then I also worked with a guy in Edmonton who was trying actively to get to Peace River. Like he wanted to go because I think he's still up there, Jess Barber. And he
Yep.
was like, when can I fucking get up there? Like I want to go up there. Right. And like, so it is a lifestyle. It's, if you're looking for that outdoors, mountains, like
Not mountains, but very hilly.
hilly, like foothillies, right? Then yeah, then you'll get that, So yeah, okay. So you moved back up to Peace River. Did you immediately apply? Kind of got in? Because you'd already had you had your co-pat and everything. So basically just was like, hey, I'm here, hire me. And they did.
Well, no, I basically was hired on the spot in my interview. They're like, okay, well, we're sending you to Peace River. So like my position, yeah, there was a position up there already for me. So I just had to organize the move. And I mean, shit, they even paid for my move up there, like, which was like fed. And actually they moved the remand center, paid for, I don't know if it was Remand Center or was it Alberta Justice, but anyways, the move was paid for to come back down here, kind of thing. And actually,
wow.
At the time that I went up there to Peace River, the reason I didn't apply for Edmonton was because, like you said, it was so hard to get into the Remand Center, like to work. It was so hard, like they were taking basically cream of the crop kind of thing, right? Like they weren't, like, I don't even know, but it was just there was no positions. And so that's why I was like, oh yeah, sure, Peace River kind of thing, right? So plus my parents are from up there. I mean, I'm from a small town, an hour and 20 minutes away from there. So I mean, that's my country up there, right? So
yeah. So you're living in Peace River, you're working there. Tell me about your first day. So you're walking into the jail, you've done your orientation training. How old were you?
21, because I took a year off from high school and then I started college and then did the 2 years. So yeah, I was 21 when I started up there. So yeah, I mean, oh my goodness, my first day it was good. Like I was the only one in my orientation class by myself. Everybody was just kind of like looking at me like, who the fuck is this kind of thing? Like, sizing me up, like I felt like a fucking piece of meat of some sort, right? Like just, yeah. I mean, it was good. Like it was definitely sink or swim, right?
So where did you start? Like, cause I, to be honest, I know very little of Peace River. I've actually never had an opportunity to go up there, despite the amount of times that I asked to go and do on transfer loads. I never ever got a chance to go up there. So I know it's remand and sentence, so you must have separations between the units and things like that. So like, where did they start you? Obviously, I'm assuming with the females, or no?
No, there's no females up there.
Not a single, like not even an intake or holding.
No.
Holy shit. Okay.
It was all male up there. So yeah, actually, and it still is all male up there. There was talk of maybe bringing females there, but I mean, we just didn't have the female staff at the time, right? So I mean, that idea just kind of got quashed, right? So and that's another thing, like when a female starts up there, it's like, oh, like who the heck is this kind of thing? Because at the time there weren't a lot of females working in that male driven occupation kind of thing or career. But yeah, so they basically started me on, I think, the sentenced unit as like their assistant kind of thing, right? So I was the bitch. I was like, okay, I went and did rounds. I went and got everything. I fucking fed the inmates. I did everything kind of as I was learning unit 1, right? So, but yeah, oh my goodness, yeah, you're a rookie. You fucking do everything. You put your time in, right? So yeah, but I was on a sentence / like remand unit. Because at the time there, yeah, they had, like I said, Nikki, my first day, I'm pretty sure I was on that unit, or else I was afloat, but a float kind of thing was, you basically ran around to different units, seeing what each unit needed and like doing rounds, like you did your half-hour checks on units that weren't manned and everything, right? So yeah, I was basically that. And oh my goodness, yeah, Central just would run you, right? Like it's just like, okay, you're doing this, you're doing that. Like I don't even think I fucking sat the first day, and I think I did a double because at the time they were kind of a little bit short staffed. Overtime was in great abundance. So it was like, you want to work, then you fucking work, right? So I mean, yeah, I'm pretty sure like my first 2 or 3 shifts were overtime. It's just because I couldn't say no.
Yeah, you're like, okay, I'm the rookie, sure. And it's totally true, because like to those of you that are looking to get into the career, like it is, like you are going to be the bitch, like you really are. But it is also the best way to learn how to do it. Like just thrown in, go feed the inmates. Okay, let's hope I don't fuck this up. They'll tell you if you fuck it up, right? An inmate will tell you if they didn't get the right diet. They'll tell you if, like their fucking shit's cold or they're missing something on their tray, or they'll try and swindle something to get something an extra fucking tray, right? Like, so you learn real quick med rounds, you learn who's cheeking, you learn like who fucking took somebody else's meds, right? Like it's totally like just sink or swim, get in and do it. But it is the best way to learn, like just to go and do it and try it and like hope you don't fuck it up, right? Yeah, totally. So you said unmanned units. So there's units up there that didn't have officers for certain parts of the day, or they just were unmanned in that there just wasn't enough staff. Like, how did that work?
Just not enough staff. I mean, yeah, units upstairs, like there was like they just weren't like, yeah, we just didn't have enough staff, and like your float staff, we're just short staffed. Like, I mean, I think on shift there was a total, oh fuck, that was freaking years ago. I mean, you would maybe have 12 staff on shift, and that's for the entire center, right? But I mean, up there at the most I've ever seen was maybe 200 inmates per center, right? So but yeah, the unmanned units were usually the administrative segregation guys, which were basically locked up all day, but you would still do your half-hour rounds, right? And then downstairs, like the digger, they would be unmanned. There was not even an office down there. Like, and when you exercise those guys, you were sitting on a chair in the frickin' thing, like basically just keeping an eye on them. Like,
yeah,
they're showering, walking around, using the phone, kind of thing, right? And then there was a sentenced unit, which was unmanned, like, but they were basically locked in their unit. But like, I mean, there's cameras everywhere, right? So I mean, they weren't unmanned. Like Central had cameras on these guys, like basically 24/7, right? Just in case shit did hit the fan. So, but yeah, that like we didn't have enough staff. Like I said, we only had maybe at most, I think 12 staff on shift, and that was including the managers and whatnot, right? So
yeah. So when in your so you were there 2008 to 2012. So in those 4 years, like what roles did you play? Were you always a living unit officer? Did you go on response team? Did you go, I mean, not that there's a dedicated response team because there's only 12 people, but like, did you do central? Did you do outside patrol, things like that?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, I did everything except for manager. I think did I do supervisor? No, I didn't do supervisors at all either. No, it was just basically outside patrol. Your escorts were your floor staff, basically, the ones that like bitches that were running from unit to unit doing rounds and everything. But that was nice because you got to go and relieve other guys in the units, give them their break, and kind of shit and bullshit with the other staff and whatnot, and kind of say, oh, what's going on, like find out what's what and everything. So but yeah, everything, like even central staff, once they kind of deemed you confident, like that was a sink or swim, like because you're handling keys. Like Peace River is an old center. It still has the bars and like the manual, like pushing and pulling like the levers on control panels and everything, like
the
I don't even know.
switches, toggle switches. Yeah. Oh my god.
And like if there was a code on the unit, you would override it with a key. Like you would break the little glass and override it so that you could work all the gates at the same time, kind of thing. Because at the time you work one gate, well, that gate has to close before you open another gate. And I really enjoyed my time up there. Like I really did. Like, and I miss the people up there for sure. But I mean, you meet great people everywhere you go, right? So I mean, it was definitely like a chapter in my life that, I mean, Jesus, it was a good one for sure. So, but yeah, no, I did outside for God. I'm just trying to like reminiscing about it right now.
It's crazy too, like because both of us had the experience of working at the new Empty Remand Center. So most technologically advanced jail in Canada. We have biometric scanners, we have top of the line radio systems, like we have like the touch screen panels for our, like it's like techno fucking amazingness. I mean, yes, it's now 10 years old, so a lot of that shit is outdated, I'm sure, as I was thinking about it. Yeah, it's 10 years, 2013, April 2013. I know, blew my mind too when I thought about that. But then we've also worked in jails where like Red Deer, teeny tiny, Peace River, teeny tiny, right? Again, Red Deer not as old as Peace River, but yeah, you go back to like, oh shit, like this is all manual shit, like we have to like override this manually, and you have to like, and so it's like for you going from that to then learning all this new technology at Edmonton Remand, for me going from like having all the bells and whistles to going back to like, holy fuck, we have a key. Like I have a key that I have to actually physically put in a door and like turn it, and it's like a big ass gold Folgers key. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
this is crazy, right? So going kind of at 2008 start time, 2012, you go, you know what? I think I'm going to run for this drug dog position. Walk me through like your kind of like how you kind of got into how you thought about that, because this was a job. So I think Sean McQuay, a good friend of both of ours, love Sean if he's listening, love you, Sean. And I miss your goddamn face, and we need to go for beer soon. But Sean had originally been the first drug dog handler in Alberta. And he came from, yeah, the grandpa of drug dog handlers. So this was a very coveted position. Like I know when it first came out, the competition for it, for the position that Sean got, was like insane. And so then when we heard, because I was part of the New Edmonton Rehabilitation Center project, that we were bringing on another drug dog handler, we knew from head office that holy shit, this is going to be like, A, you get to come to the brand new jail and you get to work there. B, you get to be a drug dog handler, which is everybody wants to do. Like, holy shit, there's going to be a ton of applications. So, like, first of all, fuck yes that you got it. Fuck yes that it went to a female. Fuck yes that it went to a female from a small town and a small jail. Also, just fucking love it, love it, love it, love it. I thought that before I ever met you. When you got the job, I was like, this is the best fucking thing in the entire world. Goddamn, I love this. And then I met you and I was like, goddamn, I love her even more. Now I know why they picked her, right? But tell me, like, what was your headspace? Like, why did you think like I'm gonna go do this?
I actually originally applied for the position down in Calgary like a couple years prior to that.
Mm-hmm.
And bombed the interview. I did a telephone interview and just absolutely bombed it. Like it was horrendous. I don't do well over the phone. I'm more of a in-person, get to know me, get to know my vibe kind of thing, right? Like I applied for that position thinking, I'm like, oh, okay, well, I could move down to Calgary kind of thing, right? Ultimately didn't get it, thank God. Um, no offense to any Calgary listeners. It's not about Calgary. Like I said, I applied for Calgary, bombed the interview, bombed the telephone interview, and then I was like, oh, okay, like fair enough. And then basically waited for another position to kind of come available. I kind of heard through the grapevine, oh, well, maybe, the new remand center is going to be opening up kind of thing soon. So, and I had gotten the transfer confirmation to work down there. So while I was waiting for that, for my, papers to come in kind of thing, like, oh, say you're going down there, the position became available. So I was like, shit, yeah. So I applied. They're like, okay, well, telephone or in person. So I was like, in person, and came down here with my mom, and she, she, oh my God, God love her. She was wandering around Chinatown. I'm like, oh God, Mom, you're going to get shanked or shit. Like, you're going to, oh my God, right? Like,
So in the interview, like what was like, like I'm assuming they wanted you to have some experience. So like how did that play out? Because it's not like you were a dog handler before. It's not like you had a ton of dog. I mean, like you came from a farm, so obviously some animal experience, but like over everybody else that got it, like what was the thing that sold them on you besides the fact that I fucking love you and you're badass?
actually, in all honesty, I was told it was my handshake.
There you go. Fucking booyah. I love it because you didn't have one of these like little
Right. Yes. Yeah. I was like, no, because
bullshit. Yeah.
dad always said, like, no, if you shake a man's hand or anybody's hand, you shake it and you look them in the eye, and yeah, that's what you basically give it some force kind of thing, right? So yeah.
You know what? That is fucking awesome because it like, and so to the people that are listening, right? Those of you that are like, oh, I'll never get
Be
it.
The littlest
Totally.
thing that can be a game changer. Yep.
Totally. Oh my God, that's amazing. And so you get the job, you're already set, you're already moving to Edmonton, so you're coming down 2012. So walk me through, because before you came, you did a bunch of training. I know that because did they send you the RCMP training
Calgary.
facility? Calgary. Okay, yeah,
Calgary.
yeah. So tell me about that. Tell me like how you kind of started. You got Miley. I fucking love Miley, our dog. She's amazing. So you got Miley and you got her as like a pup. Like she was what, 6 months old?
No, she was about a year and a half.
Was she?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, she was about a year and a half to, no, maybe 2.5. God, I can't remember. Yeah, no, yeah, she was about 2.5. Yeah, she was 2.5. I remember the first time I saw her, they walked me into the kennels and everything, and they walked me down this line of, this kennels. If you've ever been in like a regular kennel before, there's the basically cells where all these dogs are behind all these doors, jumping up and down behind these doors, bark, 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 bark. And I'm like thinking to myself, what the fuck did I get myself into? Like, I'm gonna sink kind of thing, right? But yeah, no, I met her, and like I got to the door, they're like, "Okay, this is your dog," and she's jumping up like a fucking jumping bean, and just
Yep.
just a jelly bean there, and I'm like, holy fuck. And then like they pull her out, and she's like super skinny. I mean, Jesus, they got her from down in the States, a kennel down in the States. I think it was, I want to say Louisiana, but somewhere. She loves hot weather anyway, so she's from somewhere down that is hot, right? So but yeah, first time I met her, I was like, fuck me, like this is my dog. So
For those of you that never knew Miley was a little hyper. Miley definitely had a personality. My favorite memory of Miley is whipping the Kong down the hallway, and she would go like fucking bat out of hell down the hallway, and then like the halls are like smooth, like there's no grip, and then she would just like skid like and you'd hear her little nails like down the hall, and she'd skid out, and then she'd fucking turn around, and then she'd be trying to get purchase, right? So she's like scrabbling but like not going anywhere, and then all of a sudden she'd fucking get purchase and like shoot after that con, and then she'd come running back at you, and you were like, is she gonna stop? Is she not gonna stop? Holy fuck, she's coming in like a bat out of hell. Like, and like maybe in short, I was like, if she hits me, like I'm gone. Like she will take my legs completely out from underneath me, and I'm gonna hit the deck, right? And she would come like right at you, and then instantly just like hit the brakes and just skid into you, and you'd be like, holy fuck, Miley. And then she'd look at you and be like, let's go again, right? Fucking loved her. Oh my god. Yeah, so you get her with all of her big personality, all of her like, but I will say, God, that dog had a work ethic. She wanted to work all the fucking time. If she could work, she wanted to work. So you guys go through, what was it for training? Because it was with Calgary Police, I think, right? Calgary Police Canine Unit. Yeah.
Yeah. It was a 6 to 8 week training course at the time. So basically I was down there for at max 8 weeks, at shortest would have been 6, but I think I was down there for 7 weeks. Came home on the weekends, but yeah, mostly Monday to Friday we just did training and just a lot of repetitions and introduction to like odors and different things, and yeah, just trying to false her off everything. And I mean, she had the work ethic because she was very ball driven. She didn't get her ball at home, which I mean, I had to kind of play around with that and kind of see like, okay, can I give her the ball? If I can give her the ball, is her work ethic going to be the same at work? Is it going to kind of be like, oh, well, whatever, I get the ball at home, right? Kind of thing. But yeah, no, it turned out that kind of playing around there, she didn't get the ball at home. Just acted like a normal house dog when she was with me. And then as soon as we got to work kind of thing, as soon as I put my uniform on, it was basically go time. Like, oh, sweet, I get my ball, like kind of thing, right? So
yeah.
But yeah, there was 2 other Calgary Police Service canine guys that were training drug detection dogs at the time. God love them. They're such amazing guys. They're no longer with the unit. They've actually been promoted to like sergeants and other positions, and I mean, they're fucking fantastic guys. I miss those guys. But yeah, training with them, I mean, it was so much fun. It made it so much more enjoyable. Actually, like when the 7 weeks was up, I was like, I don't want to go back. Like I just want to stay here with you guys. Like you guys are a lot of fun.
So the things that you're doing in training, like you're saying like odor detection, and you're saying like falses. So like explain that to me. What does that mean?
Odor just basically, well, because I mean, they're trained to be narcotics dogs, right? So anywhere from marijuana, yeah, it's legal now, but it's still not allowed in the centers. But yeah, marijuana to meth, ecstasy. We even have our dogs trained on fentanyl now. Basically just taking small amounts and just getting their noses close to source and paying them for it, and just the closer the better. And then just, without them ingesting it, because that would be phenomenally awful.
Yeah.
And then yeah, falsing, just to make sure that they're not sniffing an odor and it's like, oh, okay, well, I just want my ball, so I'm just going to sit here kind of thing, right? So
Right.
yeah, shit like that, like falsing them off food. Like if they smell food in a cell, do they sit? If they smell like plastic baggies or gloves or anything, like even when like you're handling the drugs, you're trying not to, like, you handle the drugs with the gloves on, and then like you take the gloves off and you make sure that they're not sitting on the drugs themselves and like that have the odor on it. I mean, they're not necessarily wrong, like the drugs were on the gloves, but they're also trying to take a clean pair of gloves and make them not like, and get them to not false on those gloves kind of thing, right? Like, or as soon as they see like black gloves, oh, I got black gloves, okay, or cellophane, which they fucking wrap the drugs in and everything, right? Like, I mean, oh my goodness, I don't even know how many times Miley hit on use cellophanes in cells. So it's like, well, she's not fucking wrong. Like, and then you go to swab it, and yeah, they're all in there, right? So it's kind of like, well, fuck. So I mean,
Yeah.
well, yeah. So that's basically just trying to get them to sit when there's odor, and not when there's not, kind of thing, right? So
yeah. And I think part of that training probably, or a lot of that training too, is you guys learning to recognize each other's cues, right? So you're recognizing what the dog is doing, the dog is reading what you're doing, right? Her being extremely attentive to, the commands you're giving and things like that. So that had to be probably a lot of the training too, just even getting to know each other and like her as a dog, you as a human, making that connection, and then making that connection for cues and things.
Yeah, like the first actually 2 weeks, they encouraged me to bring her back to my hotel room and just like spend time with her and just, like you said, get to know each other kind of thing, right? And just build that special bond between handler and dog. So, oh God, like it took a little bit of time, but I mean, yeah, like as soon as we were bonded, like we were bonded for life. Even when I brought her back to the center, like I leave her room and she's looking for me, right? She's like, I leave her with Lynn, she's looking for me, right? Like, so yeah.
And so I know you kind of touched on it before, but so our listeners know, like, so the dog lives with you at home. It's not like they stay at the jail and they're kenneled there and they're just at the jail. Like, they are a family dog that's also a working dog. And so the dog becomes part of your family. Like, they are your dog. And then they also go to work with you, which is like the coolest fucking thing ever, right? So talk to me about you guys. And there was qualifications when you finished, right? She had to pass certain standards, right? And then you also had to, because I remember we were talking about it going to a rugby thing, you had requalifications coming up. So you had to pass the standards before she's considered certified, and then you're requalifying every year, or how did that work?
Yeah. So you take your initial validation or certification, and that's basically odor recognition that it is now. So make sure that the dog knows the odor, right? And then from there, you go into like situational settings, like luggage and rooms and lockers, sometimes vehicles kind of thing, right? I mean, we don't do a lot of vehicles now, but like back at the time, we did vehicles, and you had to search the outside of a vehicle and the inside of a vehicle. And yeah, and also, like I said, no falsing. They hate falsing. So, but yeah, it was just mostly you get certified on all the, like, there was 10 different odors at the time that me and Miley got certified. And then yeah, every year we had to go back and get recertified and just kind of tweak the little things that need tweaking kind of thing, right? Because I mean, like once we're certified, we didn't see those Calgary guys for like a year afterwards, right? So I mean, yeah, they were always available to us to call or email or text with the problems, and they would always help out. It was just we weren't always able to go down there for a training day kind of thing with them, kind of when if needed be, right? So but yeah, that was basically, but now it's odor recognition, making sure that they know the odor, and then situational settings, right? Like I said, lockers, luggage, which would be like your soft boxes inside the cells, right? And rooms, and or like cargo bays kind of thing, right? So I mean, we're always trying to switch it up for you, right? So just putting the dogs in different settings and making sure that they know the job.
Yeah. So now you come back to the jail, we open the jail up, you are primary drug dog handler. amazing. You've got the search team. So at the Edmonton Rehab Center, we have a dedicated search team. They are specifically, that is their job. They search all day, different units, different areas based on a schedule or based on intel that we get that, there's drugs here or there's something here. We're going to go search it. So walk me through kind of like a typical day in the life of Erin and the drug dog.
So yeah, we basically get to the center and just kind of check up on emails and whatnot until we go in there, find out where we're searching, and then we go and probably search 1 or 2 living units, and then kind of any kind of intel, and then we search the dry cells, the inmates that are suspected of having something on them, and then we kind of are like waiting for something to happen or something to pop off kind of thing, right? Like we're available, we're at our office, we're either doing paperwork or we're doing continuous training with the dogs. Or yeah, we're just like I said, catching up on paperwork, vehicle stuff, like getting vehicle maintenance. Yeah, just being basically waiting for stuff to pop off kind of thing, right? Waiting for an overdose or intel about there's like drugs on the unit, stuff like that, right? We're basically waiting. We're trying to keep busy waiting.
Yeah. And it's like that's that fine balance, right? Of you got to be always prepared, but then sometimes luckily things don't pop off and it's kind of a quiet day and it's like, oh, that's kind of nice, right? So you touched on 2 things. I want to go back to it. So walk me through, like, I know what the search looks like. I know what you guys do, but I know that a lot of our listeners don't. So walk me through like what the search would look like from your perspective. So for our listeners, our search team, they're going in, they're tossing, just like in the movies, they're tossing cells from top to bottom. So they're going through every nook and cranny, every article of clothing, any bits, pieces, canteen items. We're checking it all. Like they're going through super thorough. We're checking for integrity of windows and doors and bunks and things like that. Is it still adhered to the ground, things like that. But Erin, what's your specific role when you go in with the dog?
So when we go in, the search team pulls the guys from their houses, and I'm usually searching the gym or the outside yard or like the living areas, like the classroom or just the common areas, and then the guys strip search the guys in their cells or in the showers, and then they send them down to me and the dog run by them, kind of search their rear ends and their crotch areas,
which is where they normally suitcase their drugs. For those of you that don't know that's where they like to put them. That's their little extra holding space. Okay, so you touched on 2 different things there. Kind of, we talked about the search a little bit. Talk to me about so can the dog search the mail? Is that something like, you see it in the movies, everybody's bringing drugs in through the mail. Like, is that something that Zoe, our latest drug dog, is she responsible for that?
Yeah, we can basically whatever comes into the center, we can search, and have been asked to search property that people drop off for inmates, inmate mail, like you said. The search team goes through that first, and then if there's suspicion that a piece of mail is dirty, then they'll ask assistance, I guess, in searching that. Yeah, like we basically, if you're in the center, whatever you have in the center, it's yeah, we can search. So
that's awesome. And then the other piece that you talked about was the truck. So specialized, basically transport vehicle for you and the dog. So talk to me about the truck, because obviously I'm assuming there's special equipment in there. There's things that are going to help keep the dog comfortable while you're traveling, if you're traveling between jails or, again, traveling for training. It's an SUV.
It's an SUV with a dog kennel in the back, and it's heat censored and cold censored. And yeah, basically for if it gets too hot or too cold, it will alarm me. Like the horn will start beeping at me, everything kind of thing. The windows will roll down. There's fans in the back. It's built essentially to keep the dog safe, the dog and me.
And then you've got in the front, obviously, just like what you need for your equipment and things like that. And so when you're taking Zoe places, like she's comfortable in the back. She knows, yep, hop up, let's go. We're going to go to another jail. We're going to go, do some training. That's awesome. Okay. And so because I know that we're cognizant of time, and I know you have some training that you have to do this afternoon, which is super exciting. I want to kind of wrap up just with some kind of quick questions for you, some rapid fire. I'm going to adjust them slightly, and I'm going to include Zoe in this because I think she is the star of the show, to be perfectly
Oh boy.
honest. So one of the things I do have a question. So like, how are you continuing to learn with Zoe, kind of to stay on top of like what is happening, what the current trends are for drug use or new drugs that are coming in, things like that. Like, you know, how does that training work for you, and how do you learn like what's new that's coming in?
Just through other agencies and going to like different seminars with them and going to the Canadian Police Canine Association like trials for dogs. Like the trials is like basically competitions where it's a huge competition based anywhere kind of in Canada, whoever wants to host it, and you basically get to showcase your dog. And I mean, you're trying to be top dog with searching, with um
Like responding to cues and things like that, right? Like,
yeah. So I mean, um just trying to think of what the question was. Yeah, we just basically by keeping in touch with other agencies, like federal handlers as well, like we train with them when we can. We try to do training with them at least once a month, hopefully, if not maybe every couple months. Just depends on what they've got going on. And just like still learning her and she's learning me. Like that's been like because Miley and Zoe are two completely different dogs. Miley was very hard-headed and she would work no problem. Whereas Zoe, she's a little bit more sensitive and attuned to me. And so I basically have to keep myself in check when I'm searching her because she very, very, very much reads off me. So if I'm having a bad day, we're having a bad day. So,
right. Yeah.
that was a major kind of eye opener for me. Like I'm still learning with her. Basically every day is a new day, and I'm just trying to think like of different things I can, they're dogs. They'll do their own thing ultimately. And no dog is the same. And that was basically like, yeah, I wish I never had to retire Miley. Because yeah, but that was my first dog. So I mean,
Mm-hmm.
of course you're gonna compare everyone else or every other dog to your
Yeah.
first, right? Like I mean,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, like just learning her has actually been a huge eye opener for me, and like just self-awareness, right? Like
Yeah.
I mean, like a lot of the errors that we have are handler errors, are my errors, and just
Mm-hmm.
being self-aware of that, right? And just okay, okay, what am I doing wrong, right? Kind of thing, but also not trying to overthink it, right? Because
Yeah.
I mean, you get in your head and you're fucked. But
Yeah.
I mean, I'm my own worst enemy. I I'm aware of that now. Like I've kind of always been aware of that, but I'm with having her. Just yeah, I don't know. She's taught me a lot, which is crazy because you don't think that shit like that could change so much, but it has. Like I don't know. I'm hoping it's making me a better handler. I'm really hoping it is, but at least I'm self-aware of shit right now. So I mean, if nothing else.
That's awesome. And you know what? That it's funny because that segued right into the next question I was going to ask you, which was basically what's the biggest challenge you have in this role? And I think that's probably part of it is like everything is different. Every situation you go into is going to be different. Every day is different. Humans have bad days, dogs have bad days. Like
Yeah.
it just is, right? And so being self-aware and noticing that like, oh, maybe today I was like, commanding a little bit too harshly. And then the dog was like, cueing on that. Or maybe I was
Yeah.
kind of a little distracted and I was thinking of
Yeah.
something else. And then I wasn't, I missed the cue that she tried to give me. And,
Yeah.
like, so I think that's like really, really, smart of you to be aware of that and to know that and to be growing from that, right? And to know that there is a difference between this dog and this dog, and this dog trained like this on techniques that were this in 2012 versus Zoe that's been trained on this, which is
Mhm.
new, right? Now we know these
Yep.
different things and we know different ways that
Yep.
dogs react to things. And so that
Yep.
that's really interesting to me. Any other challenges you find in this role?
Every center is different. And centers, we're the only center with a search team. So
Mm-hmm.
Peace River has a search team as well. Like all the other centers,
searches are conducted by living unit officers, so they may or may not be doing a good job because they don't do it every single day. I would even find that as a supervisor, how Officer A searched Unit A versus how Officer B searched Unit B before we had the search team. Like if we went back to the old remand, and even me, what I chose to pull out of cells and be like, absolutely not, are you fucking not having this, versus what somebody else, right? Like I was huge on no extra food, and I was huge on pop bottles. Like those two were two things that I was like, yoink, like you have until the end of shift to finish this fucking stash of whatever you've got, or make your apple fucking crumble, or make it and then have it and eat it. But like, we're not fucking stockpiling 5 apples and 7 bananas and a pile of fucking cookies. Like you're gonna do something with it or it's gone, right? And pop bottles. But I had partners who were like, God, why are you such a fucking Nazi with the pop bottles? And I'm like, because to me, and I mean, yes, 95% of the time, all they're doing is putting their juice crystals in it, or they're putting their coffee in it, or they're doing their something in it, right? Which is fine. But the other 5% are making brew out of it. And then brew is exploding in their cells, or they're getting drunk and they're being total fucking dickwads. And then we're having to deal with it, right? So like, if it means me taking their pop bottle away and they can use the mug that we can give them, or they can use the styrofoam cup, like fucking there's cups for you. It's not like you don't have a fucking cup. Calm your tits, okay? Right? So I'm with you on that. The level of searching and the level of effort people put into searching, if they don't want to fucking do it, if they got called off their unit and they don't want to be searching, and then they're not putting in a ton of effort, or those guys that go in and fucking go hard and start to do stupid shit like smash inmates cookies and chips and fucking wreck shit. And then you're like, motherfucker, like we have to go back to this unit after you leave, and we still have to fucking run this unit, and you get to leave because you don't work this unit. And now I'm stuck with 29 inmates who are fucking furious because you crushed all their chips, stepped on their cookies, fucking took their t-shirt and fucking stepped on it with your dirty boots, walked across their beds with your dirty boots. Like, have some common fucking decency, right? Like, I mean, they're still people, they're still human. Like, don't be a fucking douche, right? Like,
I mean, like if Miley were to have had an accident, or she knocked something over, or Zoe were to like knock something over or whatever, like I would let the inmate know, like, okay, like they go back to their house, and then I'd say, okay, like whose shirt was that, kind of thing. They're like, oh, it's mine. Or whose coffee was that on the table? Oh, it's mine. Okay, well, Miley knocked it over with her tail, or Zoe knocked it over with her tail, kind of thing. And then they'd say, okay, yeah, no problem, boss, kind of thing, right? Or I had to use your shirt to clean up her accident, kind of thing, right? They're like, okay, yeah, no problem, boss, right? I mean, I mean, you give respect in order to kind of get respect back, like yeah, just because they're in jail, I mean, they're right, 100%. I mean,
still people.
Common decency, right? It's kind of like, like I I'm not just gonna, oh, she's getting pissed and shit on the floor, I'm not gonna fucking clean them up. Fuck that. Like, no, like you're a correctional peace officer. Like, and people, I think, lose sight of the peace. But I mean, I'm not putting it on officers, because God knows it's not on them. It's on the fucking inmates to themselves. Some inmates just can't fucking be helped. Some inmates are just fuckbags, right? Like, so I mean, it is what it is. You get both spectrums, right? So both sides.
No, totally agree with that. Okay, what is the funniest thing that's happened to you guys in the last year?
There's funny things that like happen every day that I just kind of chuckle at, like just inmates' attitudes towards us on certain units that we're on. It's like, have you forgot what unit you're on? Like, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Exactly. Like, oh, okay, so you're hot shit, right? I'm sorry, what unit are you on right now? Oh, that's right. Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Oh, you're a Skinner and you're a hideout? Oh yeah, but you're the fucking big man. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. I'm shaking in my boots over here. Oh.
So that just the inmates' attitudes, because it's like, who the fuck do you think you are? That just is kind of like, what the fuck, man? So
yeah, I love it, and that's what they say to you too. Who the fuck do you think you are? You and your fucking dog. And you're like, I'm sorry, hideout on the Skinner pod. I'm sorry, what was that? Yeah, you're big and tough. Big tough window warrior. Yeah, okay, bud.
Yep.
Okay. And next one. What's the favorite piece of equipment that you get to use with Zoe? Probably Zoe, because she's the best piece of equipment, the best tool that we have.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Is there a specific like training tool that you use? Like,
Oh, I use her clicker, like the little
mm,
clicker there, but I don't know. I wouldn't say it's a tool. It's like because she's ultimately a tool, right? Like she's
yeah.
deemed a tool, but I mean, God, she loves her ball.
Is she as ball driven as Miley was? Like, is that her thing, the
Um,
ball?
not quite. No, she's more food than anything, but I mean, like she won't. I mean, refuse the ball like by any means now that I have a ball that she actually likes, like, right? So,
Mhm.
but like Miley loved her conch, but
Yeah.
Zoe, she's got the she's a soft mouth dog, right? She's a lab. So I mean she's more into the squeezy, like squeaky toys kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Which she fucking loves, right? So I mean I guess that would be it, right? Like she just because she goes fucking crazy over that. But I mean, yeah, she's food and ball rewarded.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's perfect because it leads right into my last question for you. So, it's going to be different for you and different for Zoe, but what's your favorite food or snack while you are on shift? So, what do you like to eat and what does Zoe like to eat?
Zoe's liver treats.
Okay. Yeah.
She perked right up.
Oh, her ears just perked up and she just poked her nose over the top. I saw that.
Yeah. For me, I don't know. I wouldn't turn down a good crisper, like dill pickle crispers. Those are fucking good.
Oh.
Have you ever had those?
No, I don't like dill pickle things, but crisp.
They're so good. They leave your mouth numb, but they're so good.
That's hilarious. I love it. Oh my gosh. All right, my girl. Well, it has been a fucking time talking to you. I'm so glad I got the chance to chat with you and catch up with you. It has been way too long. We need to go for beers.
Oh my, I know. Like it's been how many months since you've been like trying to get me on your show, and it's just
Yeah, forever, forever. But thank you so much for giving me your time. Thank you for giving me your energy. Thank you for all your awesome stories, all your knowledge. We'll throw some information in the show notes about kind of the drug dog handler position and the kind of program that we have here in Alberta. And if anybody has any questions, they can always reach out to me, and I can probably put you in connection with Erin. But thanks again. Have an amazing rest of your day. Enjoy your training day. Tell Sean I say hi and I miss his goddamn face. And I will hopefully see you soon.
Yes, for sure. It was great talking with you too. I rather enjoyed it. It was good.
Awesome. Okay, take care. Well, that's it for today, guys. Thanks so much for listening, tuning in, and sharing your time and energy with us. Make sure you check out our next episode starring another badass female first responder on Apple, Spotify, or TuneIn. And make sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Blue Line Fitness Testing. Stay safe and keep your head on a swivel.